Hello and welcome to this episode of Talking About Rock, sponsored by School of Rock, Rochester, New York. You can catch all our interviews on all the streaming platforms wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. And check us out on talkingaboutrock.com. Today I'll be chatting with Steve Riley of Riley's L.A.GUNS. Starting in the 70s, he moved to Los Angeles to pursue his music career. In 1979, he joined a revival of Steppenwolf, but the lineup broke up later that year. Riley then joined up with up-and-coming LA band Keel and recorded their breakthrough album, The Right to Rock, in 1984. Later that year, Riley departed Keel to replace founding member Tony Richards in Wasp. In 87, Riley left Wasp and immediately joined Rising Sunset strip band L.A.GUNS. Riley was let go from the band in 92, but returned in 95. Then in 2006, there were two L.A.GUNS lineups, Phil Lewis and Tracy Guns. Riley was a member of Lewis's lineup until it folded in 2016 when merging with Tracy Guns' version. Subsequently, Riley created his own version of L.A.GUNS in 2019. This version released an album, Renegades, through Golden Robot Records. Following lawsuits over the band name, a settlement was reached in April 2021, allowing this band to continue as Riley's L.A.GUNS. They released the single Overdrive on October 22nd for digital download from the up-and-coming album, The Dark Horse, and have a new single, Rewind, available on February 17th. The current band's lineup includes Steve Riley, Kelly Nichols, Scott Griffin, and Kurt Froelich. Next, we chat with Steve Riley on Talking About Rock. Okay, we have with us on the phone Steve Riley of Riley's L.A.GUNS. Steve, man, how's it going?
It's going good, Rob. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right, man. Doing okay. Well, you've definitely paid your dues, man, in the world of rock and roll. It's been quite a whirlwind in the Guns camp for the last few years.
Man, it's been great, and we've had a lot of fun doing these the last few years and doing Renegades and then doing this new album, The Dark Horse. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys finally seems like you have everything settled with the naming and everything's on track for right now. Yeah, the new tracks sound great, man. You got the recently released single Overdrive that came out in October, and now we're looking forward to Rewind on February 17th. Yeah. Man, that sounds great for digital download.
Absolutely. You know, we have three singles that are going to lead into us releasing the full album in May. So we have Overdrive that's already out, and Rewind, I can't wait for everybody to hear it. It's going to be released this month, and we are going to release one more single in April, and that's the title track, The Dark Horse, and then the album comes out May 19th, and so we're really looking forward to everybody hearing this album.
Very, very cool. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely got a fresh new sound for a lot of these songs, man. I'm really liking it. It's really cool. Things,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, things seem to be really clicking with Kelly, Scott, and Kurt, man. Definitely for you guys, you know.
I just love playing with these three guys. Obviously, me and Kelly have been a rhythm section for so long, and we have such a great chemistry. But we were so fortunate to get Scotty Griffin on guitar and Kurt Froelich on vocals, and we have such a great chemistry between the four of us. Also, we write together, and we have a lot of fun being together too. So we're having a really good time, man. But I'm really happy with this lineup.
Excellent. Yeah, I really like the track Overdrive, and I'm going to play it for the folks in a second here. But can you kind of said a little bit about the songwriting? So it's really gelling for you guys. Is it just coming real easy? Everybody's kind of just putting in their bits and pieces?
Yeah, you know, everybody brings in songs. Everybody is a true songwriter in the band, all four of us. And some of the material we've already written on our own, and we'll bring the gist of that song into the studio, and then the four of us will finish it in the studio. And Overdrive is a song Kelly Nichols brought in and it was a no-brainer to release that as the first single. It's a balls out rocker. It's just got L.A.GUNS written all over it, and we wanted to come out of the gate with that. And now Rewind is coming out, and that's a song Kurt Froelich, the lead singer, brought in, and we finished it in the studio, but it's just got a great feel to it, a great hook, and I thought the performances on it and the production was really cool too.
Yeah, definitely really good. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you. We'll check out Overdrive if folks haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. You know, and we're looking forward to Rewind. It's going to be out February 17th. But let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back here with Steve Riley on Talking About Rock. Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock. Just checked out the great track there for Overdrive, like we were talking about. Good stuff, man. You guys are just clicking on all cylinders for sure.
Yeah, we feel really good about what we're doing right now. It's been a couple years since Renegades came out. and the response for Renegades was positive all the way across the board. And we felt like going in to do the Dark Horse, we took it up another notch with songwriting, performances, and production. And we're just thrilled with the way it turned out, man. We're really happy.
Yeah, I was listening to a lot of the Renegade stuff, and I don't think you guys have really had that much juice and that much, notoriety since the early stuff. But the new Renegades album was great. It kind of harkens me back to that early stuff. I'm one of those folks that was in at the ground level, got the first L.A. Guns album and the next one, and just rip and tear and everything, man. Definitely good stuff. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to Rewind on February 17th. That's coming out. And you said we'll get one more single, right? Coming out soon?
Yeah, we got one more single after Renegade. After Rewind comes out this month. Then in April, on April 14th, the title track from the album, The Dark Horse, that's going to be released as a single. And then we're going to be doing 2 shows to start off our live portion of this year. We're going to be doing May 5th in Detroit with Great White, and then 2 days later, we're going to be flying down to do the M3 show in Maryland on May 7th. And then the album will come out on May 19th, and that's pretty much us coming out of the gate and then filling it in with more live shows and working this album pretty much all year.
Excellent. Yeah, I know the M3 Rock Fest has definitely got to be something great over the last couple of years. That's excellent. You guys are playing on that. Very, very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask you one last thing before we let you go. So I was reading a little bit and about your history, and what I read that the first time you got to see Randy Rhoads play, you were actually there with Eddie Van Halen at the Starwood back in the day, huh?
Yeah, can you believe that, bro? When I first moved out to L.A., I was playing with the guys from a 70s band, Angel, and I was really good friends with those guys. And one of them, the guys, Mickey Jones, the bass player, him and I were really close, and he was friends with Eddie Van Halen. And they came by and picked me up one night in Eddie's van, and it was before their first album came out. And we went out clubbing, and we went to the Starwood that night. It was Eddie Van Halen, myself, and Mickey Jones from Angel, and Dubrow was playing. It was the early version of Quiet Riot with Kevin Dubrow, and Randy Rhoads was the guitar player, and he was just on fire that night. And there I am watching Randy Rhoads with Eddie Van Halen, and it's one of those weird situations where when you look back at it, you're saying, wow, what the hell? Those are 2 giant rock guitarists, and they're icons. And here I am watching Randy Rhoads with Eddie Van Halen, asking Eddie, what does he think of Randy? And it's just an amazing thing when I look back at it.
Yeah, that's definitely so very, very cool. I know I heard a lot of stories that Eddie did check out Randy a little bit, and they were kind of a little bit at odds, a little bit trying to outdo each other in the early days, for sure,
Yeah, well, that's a true thing, because back then, the 80s hadn't started, and it was the end of the 70s, and Van Halen was really, really big in the clubs around here in L.A., and obviously Dubrow with Randy, they were doing well too in the clubs. So they were 2 guys that were competing for an audience, and they were both giant guitar players. Nobody knew how big they were going to be. But sure, there must have been a little bit of competition in there, because even when I asked Eddie what he thought of Randy Rhoads when we were in the Starwood watching him, he kind of shrugged his shoulders, said he's okay.
Right. Yeah, he couldn't really say anything back then. Of course not. And Ed used to play with his back to the audience back in the day because he didn't want folks stealing his licks, right?
Oh man, I tell you, back then it was a very, very early period of what was going to happen. There was a lot of people just hanging out from the bands that eventually got signed in the early 80s. And, we were all up at the Rainbow hanging out, and it was the guys from Wasp, the guys from Motley, the guys from Rat. And it was all before we all got signed, Dawkins, Great White. And we were all looking for that break, and we all got it, and we all eventually got signed. So it was a real exciting period.
Yeah, that's great. And we're so happy as fans just to see this music come back, just to see it re-energized. You know what I mean? Just to see
Absolutely.
New music coming out from you folks, you know, bringing out new albums, bringing out new songs. It's amazing to see this come alive again. That always just, you know, blowing up when I was growing up in the 80s. This was great, and now we get to see it once again. So cool.
You know, I tell you, there's such a big audience too. I know that radio and MTV isn't the same as it used to be for us fans, but when we play live and we go out and we do live shows with other bands from the 80s, there's a great crowd out there, and there's a great response, and there's a lot of people that love his music, and I don't see it going away at all.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people say rock is dead, this and that. You know, it's changed a lot in the way the business side of it's done. There's no doubt about that. Is touring?
Absolutely.
Yeah, is touring super expensive and hard to do? Definitely, no doubt about it. But there's still the audience. There's still the audience. There's still the people who love it. This is not going anywhere.
No, absolutely. And I don't, rock is not dead. Definitely rock is not all over the radio or not all over MTV like it used to be. But man, I tell you what, there's a big crowd out there and a lot of people all over the world that love this music and they want to see it live. And it means a lot to them to hear this type of music and to hear the old catalogs that we have too. They want to hear those songs live, and it means a lot to them. It's their music to their background of their life, and I understand that. It's the same way I feel about 60s and 70s rock, and I can understand that about the 80s rock. It really means a lot to a lot of people.
Exactly. And even if the radio stations aren't going to play some of the newer tracks, there's a lot of underground stuff. There's a lot of podcasts like this. There's lots of other stuff people check out, you know, things that are going on. So it's definitely not dead at all. So it's so cool. Excellent, man. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for joining us, man. We look forward to the new album, The Dark Horse, coming out, man. Good luck on tour and good luck at the M3 Rock Festival. I know it's going to be terrific.
Thanks so much for your support, brother. And just want to let the fans know, check out Rewind. They're going to love it. And then the album comes out May 17th. And we're off and running. I hope I see you out there live, bro. You be safe.
All right, man. Steve, have a great night, man.
All right, you too, buddy. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.